Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to welcome us again today. My name is Johnson Wall. So we are live on Safeoclock Health and Safety Interactive Workshop, which is a platform where we, like-minded health and safety professionals, will meet virtually every week to discuss an interesting topic for the week, to refresh our minds, remind ourselves, and share our health and safety related experiences. So I'm happy to welcome us again today. And today we have chosen to discuss an interesting topic. Today we'll be talking about health and safety audit. So just like we do, I will just start the presentation. After the brief presentation, then we go into contributions and share our experience with each other. So my presentation will be brief. So within the short time that I have, I will talk about the definition of health and safety audit. I will ask a simple question if an audit is a legal requirement. So that will come in my slide too, and I will expect us to give our honest answer and to the best of our knowledge. So we'll discuss also benefits of health and safety audit and why is it important to conduct a safety audit. Then we'll talk about difference between internal and external health and safety audit. We also look at the process, the audit process itself. So I'll just start with the definition. Safety audit or health and safety audit, just like every other audit, is a systematic, structured process. It's systematic in the sense that it follows a particular sequence, that the sequence or the steps are not to be ignored because they are very important and symbolic. So the aim of health and safety audit is to evaluate the effectiveness of the organization's health and safety management system. So that is the basic aim or the objective of conducting health and safety audit. So health and safety audit does not just include only reviewing of documents. It can also go beyond evaluation of the work practices, work equipment, even the system of work themselves, and to ensure that or to verify if there is a compliance with a legal requirement or standards that that organization is supposed to comply with. So that is basically what is health and safety audit. Now, let's look at this scratch question. From your experience so far, is health and safety audit a legal requirement? Is there any legal requirement that says health and safety audit must be conducted? I will need our honest opinion. Is health and safety audit a legal requirement?
All right. If I may come in, well, to the best of my knowledge, I have not seen anywhere that it's a legal requirement. However, it is recommended to companies, to implement. And why it is so is because it gives, for those companies that has implemented the ISO standard, all right, ISO standard framework. It gives them a competitive edge, over companies who do not carry out health and safety audits. So those companies that conduct health and safety audit, it gives their clients that guarantee, the confidence and trust that, yes, they have a streamlined and well-structured system. They have a system that is working and that meets some best practices, requirements. So that's, to me, to the best of my knowledge, just the competitive edge, building that confidence and trust in clients, and giving customer satisfaction.
Yes, that is very correct. Is there anyone else that want to add something before I continue? Okay, so the Mr. David has summarized it. So I don't want to repeat again what he has already said. So the health and safety audit is not a legal requirement. So if you don't conduct health and safety audit, you will not go to prison as an employer. But there are other advantages and other concepts behind health and safety audit that makes it very interesting and very, very important. So let's proceed. Okay, let's look at the benefits of health and safety audit. The first one is improved safety or improved health and safety. So just like Mr. David said, having or conducting a regular health and safety audit will help you to achieve a reduced incident rate or reduced accident rate. Will also help you to improve communication in your workplace. And this indirectly will reduce the accident or incident rate in your organization. So that is what employers want. And health and safety audit will help in achieving that. The other one is health and safety audit will help to ensure proper or adequate compliance to legal requirements. So during the audit, from the definition, we say that audit is going to help to check if you are in compliance with the legal requirements as far as the industry is concerned. So conducting health and safety audit will help you to check if you are in compliance with those legal requirements. Also, health and safety audit will be valuable in saving costs. We all know that accidents or incidents are costly. It costs the organization funds, it costs the organization money to take care of incidents. Maybe if there is a damaged equipment, to replace the equipment. If somebody got injured, other insured and uninsured costs. So if an audit is carried out and these lapses are identified on time and proper control measures are put in place, then invariably it will save the organization costs. So that is one of the other benefits of health and safety audit. Let's look at why organizations should conduct regular health and safety audit. The first one is to assess the effectiveness of their health and safety management system. The other one is to ensure or to find out if the employees, if they're in compliance with the health and safety procedures, if they understand what the health and safety procedures have said, if they are actually aware of the existing health and safety procedures, because in some organizations, the procedures are just like a document. They are prepared and filed inside the office without communication and without anybody knowing about it. So during audit process, to find out maybe during interview and all those things. So it could ensure that the workers or the employees understand these health and safety procedures. Also, an audit will help to identify potential risks, which will help to prevent incidents. And conducting health and safety audit will help the organization to improve their health and safety management system, in the sense that during audit, the lapses, the non-compliances are identified and the organization is given time to improve on them. So in doing that, the health and safety management system of that organization is improved. It also helps to provide evidence, due diligence evidence in the case of an accident or in case of an incident. So an organization that conducts health and safety audits, like we know, is one of the proactive measures. So if there is maybe coincidentally there's an incident, so they will not be a charge for negligence, or they can be able to defend themselves against any charge for negligence because they are taking proactive measures to prevent the incident. So the incident that occurred, then will be able to stand a chance to prove that it didn't occur due to negligence. So that is also one of the benefits of conducting health and safety audit. Now, health and safety audits can be done either internally or through an external auditor. So here we are looking at the characteristics of the internal audit and that of the external audit. So the internal safety audit is the one that is conducted by an employee of that organization, somebody within the organization, or maybe an audit department in that particular organization. So that is now known as internal health and safety audit. So the characteristics are familiarization. The auditor knows in and out of the organization. So he have full understanding of the health and safety culture, the processes, the operations, what is going on in that organization. So he has full information. The frequency is that it can be conducted as many times as possible. Because the auditor is right there in the organization, they can do the internal audit maybe once a month. Some do 2 times a year, some do 4 times a year. So the frequency is far more than that of external audit. The cost of internal audit is low because the auditor is there already, is collecting his monthly salary, so there's no additional cost. Then the focus in internal audit is majorly routine safety practices, compliance with internal policies, and maybe other operational safety concerns, like maybe the activities that are ongoing. So the internal audit focuses more of the internal policies and the operational safety concerns. Okay, then external health and safety audits now involves a competent external health and safety auditor coming to an organization to conduct health and safety audit. So the objective of this external audit is to ensure that there is an unbiased assessment of that organization, because the person coming for this assessment or for this external audit is an expert in that field. So we assume or we expect that he use a specialized knowledge and his experience to ensure that he assesses the organizational health and safety management system, and with benchmarking it to the health and safety standards and best practice. So in external audit, it can take a longer time and it can take a lot of money also, because an external auditor will be contracted and there should be time fees for it. So these are all characteristics of an external audit. Okay, so there are 2 major types of health and safety audits. One is management system audit and the other one is safety functions audit. So the management system audit is the one that has to ensure that the management policies and procedures are in place. So the management audit is basically an audit against standards like Occupational Health and Safety Management System or ISO 45001, OSHA's 18001. This is an older version of ISO 45001. ISO 14001, which is Environmental Health and Safety Management System, or Quality Assurance ISO 9001. So these are some management system audits which the organization can decide to assess their health and safety compliance or their health and safety management system against these international standards. Then the other type of health and safety audit is safety functions audit. So in safety functions audit, it goes through looking at the details of the activities in the organization. So the activities starting from maybe electrical activities, how the plant administration are functions, emergency preparedness and awareness programs or plans, the isolation programs. So the functions or the safety procedures of those organizations are assessed properly during safety function audit. So these are the two basic types of the safety audit that we might have. Okay, now let's look at the auditing process. The first one is the planning stage. So at the planning stage, the scope of the audit is determined, like how many departments we are going to be auditing, and which from where to where is the audit going to be conducted. So that's the scope. Then the auditing team, is it one auditor or two auditors? So the auditing team are put together. Then there will be an audit schedule and an audit checklist is made available. So the second stage is the preliminary assessment. This involves review of the documents, identifying the legal requirements. So because you are going to be auditing the organization against a particular standard or against a particular legal requirement. So you have to identify the legal requirements that are applicable to that organization or to the environment where the organization is working on. Then the third step is to inspect the site, on-site inspection. So the on-site inspection could include walkthroughs, observation of the operation procedures, evaluating the control measures that are in place during the activities. Then it can also involve interview of workers or the employees. Then the first stage or the first step is data analysis, where you must have collected the data or information from the on-site or preliminary assessment. Then you analyze the data to identify where there are non-compliance. Then you assess the risk, you evaluate the potential hazard that you have identified, evaluate the risk, then you prioritize the findings. So you arrange the findings according to priority, according to the level of the risk that you have identified. Then the fifth stage is to prepare your report. The report involves the document, the findings in the document, maybe some documents that are missing, maybe some that are outdated. You write on the document findings. You also develop recommendations and present the report proper. Then the sixth stage of the audit is to implement the recommendations. So all the recommendations recommended by the auditor is implemented. The seventh stage is to verify, is to follow up. So in the follow-up, you are verifying if the recommendations have been implemented, if the recommendations are effective, if they're able to control the risk identified during the audit process. Then the eighth stage is continuous improvement. This is where you review the audit process to including post-audit, evaluating if the efficiency, if the audit was effective, it was efficient, if the auditor was effective, if the auditor did a good job. So this is at the stage where you now update your health and safety management system following the recommendations of the audit, and maybe if a repeated audit is required, then at this stage, a repeat audit can be can be planned. So, like our custom has been, I've finished presenting what I prepared. So I will give out, I'll open the floor. I'll give room for others to contribute. Thank you very much. So the floor is open now. The floor is open for contribution. Guys, are you posted there? Or you have gone to,
Yes, we are here.
Okay. Let's have the contributions. Sunday, are you still in office?
Okay, I'm here. I'm here. I've kind of, I'm coming back from work while I'm listening.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you so much. My attention is there. We're talking about safety audits. So, we all know how the importance of safety audits, especially when it has to do with proactive measures, because it helps us to stay in check, to make sure that the necessary things that need to be done, especially towards safety, are being done to control, to mitigate issues that will come in the future. So, like you mentioned, the part where you mentioned that it saves costs. Of course, it saves costs because majorly safety audits are to control situations that are foreseeable. While safety audit goes on, most times that is when you spot situations that need to be corrected permanently or temporarily, so that there won't be any sort of issues regarding to safety of the people, environment, facilities. So safety audit is a very important subject, which we all know. So my attention is here. Thank you so much for that, for the wonderful topic, and thank you everyone who is in the house. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's the little contribution I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. All right. The floor is open. Ismail, you are welcome. So David, you can still contribute again.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, you're highly welcome. You missed the presentation. We just finished the presentation. So we are talking about health and safety audit. So maybe you watch the video later to get to where we are. So, but in absence of that, you can still contribute what you know about health and safety audits. and how we can learn from there.
Okay, mine is question, just for the purpose of learning. My question is open to everyone, not it's not directed only to the facilitator of the subject of the topic for today. Usually it varies from organization to organization. Some organization you find in their audit plan, procedure plan, the terminology like TOR, which is terms of reference. So I don't know if anyone could explain what the terms of reference is on the audit form. And secondly, how do they determine the audit criterias? All right, the audit criterias. And when planning an audit, what are the factors, things to keep in mind, before planning the audit and executing the audit?
The question is for everyone. So anybody that want to contribute can go ahead.
Yeah, they are very straightforward and direct questions. Criteria for learning. Yeah, it's open to everyone, just for learning purpose. Because these are things you must come across, when preparing for audits.
Yeah, so the floor is open, and David is asking, what is a term of reference in audit procedure, in audit plan? And also, what are the, what do we mean by, what is the second question? Audit criteria, right?
Yes, because you spoke about the scope, right? The audit scope. So the audit criteria also, I want us to...
Okay, so is anybody speaking on that, or I should go ahead?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I really appreciate the facilitator and the participants generally. I couldn't meet the presentation, but nevertheless, as he has asked, there is an objective or scope for everything we are doing. If you look, if there is no non-conformity, then there will be where there will be necessitated for audit. So that is just in layman as the presentation or the program unveils. So we'll be able to contribute. I'll be able to contribute with everybody's participants. Thank you very much. That means if you are having some, like for instance now, if you are having a safety program like HSE plan, maybe there is the safety culture, or maybe some focus checklist. If you are going through some side, either it depends on the type of the project, and there's no compliance from the management up to the workers. So there will be a call for audit, either internal or external audit. So this one will be able to regulate and bring the safety in line with what you want to object, or what's it called, want to achieve. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ismail. That was a very brilliant contribution. So, Sir David, he asked, this question is for learning purpose, and all of us will also have to talk about it. So I will start by talking about audit criteria. So, when you want to start an audit, first you have to list your scope. The scope is talking about just the boundaries, that is the coverage of that audit. Okay, so maybe you have two different sites, or maybe two different departments, or maybe two different locations. So your scope will have to be clear You have to state where and where you are auditing. Maybe you're auditing this mechanical department, or you're auditing electrical department, or you're auditing all the departments at the same time. So that is the scope. Then the criteria is talking about the standards or the benchmark that you are going to use to check the effectiveness of that, the internal controls that they already have. So that is what is known as audit criteria. So you'll be looking at what are the standards you are going to be using as the benchmark. For example, if you are doing health and safety audit, you can be looking at the ISO 45001 as your benchmark, for evaluating that organization's health and safety management system, right? So that is what we refer to as audit criteria. Maybe there are other standards also, or maybe other regulations or other health and safety criteria, or maybe documents that are in line, or maybe that are very important to that industry. So you'll be using that as your audit criteria. So that is what I want to contribute on that. I want others to chip in something also.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Safeoclock, for everyone to know who I'm referring to. And I've just decided to step in because I've seen that response are very slow. Thank you for your answer to this question, very clear. I would just want to mention maybe one or two additional criteria that could be considered during an audit. Like you have said, so depending on the aspect, on the area that should be audited, maybe for example, if it has to do with environment, then we're looking at ISO 14001. If it has to do with the occupational health and safety of the overall organization, then we are looking at the ISO 45001, and of course, quality is also the 9001. Apart from these standards, ISO, sometimes there are other criteria that you could use, to make reference to why performing your audit. For example, if it's a project, right, you consider the client's requirements. That could stand as a criteria for you. Your procedure, maybe if it's health and safety, your health and safety plan, your health and safety plan for the project could also serve as a criteria for you. And there's some other, maybe safety manual, other documents which you could make reference to within your project's scope. Those can also come in as a criteria for you in the course of carrying out your audit. So because these are documents you would, or standard, you will make reference to ensure compliance, if there is compliance with those standards or requirements or procedure or code of practice. There's also code of practice. So all this could also serve as a criteria, but most times it's advisable you don't oversaturate your criteria, because it depends. The number of criteria you are looking at will determine the scope, of the audit. Will give you more work. So most time people just focus on, okay, maybe some basic important manuals. When I say manual, I'm referring to procedures. Maybe your health and safety procedures could be your emergency response plan, your safety manual, Then, of course, the ISO standard. If it's the 3 you are covering, of course, you may have them. If it's a specific one, maybe on only occupational health and safety, you have that one. Then if you have any, maybe bridging document from your clients, or client requirements for health and safety, that could also come in for your criteria as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David, for that wonderful contribution. and the question and the answer. Okay, so we've just discussed the audit criteria, and the other question has to do with term of reference, right? So terms of reference, I think.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I think my own understanding is the document that will outline the structure of a project, right? It will also, that document will be showing some negotiations, or maybe a collection of the what people have, what they have agreed on that for the project. Maybe some documents involving between the client and the contractor, so which they will always refer to in the course of the project. So that is what I think is terms of reference. So others can also add to it. Okay, I've muted the guy that was making noise. So, David, you can throw more light on that also.
All right, thank you very much. There is really no much difference between the criteria which we just earlier discussed and, of course, the terms of reference, which you again explain. So it's basically, like you said, those documents you want to refer that has been approved by the project, by the organization. So it still boils down to those safety manuals we are talking about, you know, those critical safety manuals, for example, the emergency response plan, your risk assessment, all right, risk management plan, the health and safety plan for the project, you understand. So it still boils down, your terms of reference still boils down to those documents you want to be auditing, you know, your aspect against. It could be the ISOs and those documentation. So those are your reference, and you are not going outside that boundary, outside that scope, outside these documents. So you're not going to look at any other document apart from the ones you have agreed to say, oh, this is what we are auditing, and these are the documents we will refer to, you know, and those becomes your terms of reference. So you don't go outside those documents. You only look at what is in those documents, and if implementation of grant is exactly the way it is on the documents. So that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much for that wonderful clarification and insights. So I'm sure that everyone has benefited today from this presentation. So we have a few minutes to go. So the floor is open now. If we have anyone that wants to contribute, you can go ahead. In absence of that, we'll close the meeting for today. Question also is accepted. If you have any doubt or anything that you need clarification, you can also ask. Okay, so I think we don't have more questions. So we call it a day today. So thank you all for joining today's workshop. I'm sure that you've learned one or two things. I've also learned one or two things as well. So we'll meet again next week, Thursday, for another session. Okay, guys, do have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Femi, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Samuel, you joined late.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No, now Ramadan, so the timing
Yes,
of the
yes.
Ramadan, we are little
Yes,
bit late
maybe
today.
next week, maybe we'll make it 7 o'clock so that we'll accommodate Ismail and Samia and others.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Hey, you want to kill me then? You want to kill me?
No, only for this Ramadan. Some of our guys are praying right now. So since Ramadan started, most of them are not able to join. So I think Ramadan is remaining 2 weeks. So only for the next 2 weeks.
Correct. Almost we completed 12, 11.
Yeah,
So only 2 weeks is left.
yeah, only 2 weeks. So we have to consider them as well. All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you.